Ladies and gentlemen, hey, hi, how you doing? Welcome back to the channel. Thank you so much for stopping by. Right now, the SMG meta is, quite honestly, a ton of fun. There are so many just dominant options in this meta right now. If you're looking for a low recoil option, an option that you can just spray and pray with, a fast TTK choice, the SMG meta kind of has it all. And today, I wanted to go through and break down the top 5 best SMG setups that you want to be using right now. And of course, first up, we got to start here on True Game Data and break down some stats. Actually figure out what the 5 best SMGs are so we can go through, rank them, and break down the best loadouts for them. So we got a pretty strong list here. We got the Saug, the PPSH, the Ladra, the LC10, the Compact, the KSV, the Jackal, and the C9. So when we go through, we look at 300 health combination shots to be the most accurate TTK graph here. You can see we're capping out at about 35 meters. Realistically, you don't want to be using these SMGs beyond, 25 meters max. It's where the TTKs eventually fall off into the 1000 millisecond or second long range there, which is just not ideal. ARs, other weapons are going to outgun them a ton there. You want to use them as much as you can in those first 15, 20 meters or so and closer here. So that's going to be the most important part of this graph. But there's a few initial standouts here. If we're looking to knock weapons off, I think unfortunately an obvious choice is going to be that Jackal. It's not too terribly far behind everything in that first damage range, but it is behind those other options in that first damage range. And then its second damage range doesn't really make up for it. Like the Saug is not super fast up close. It's right in the mix, but then second damage range, it's much faster, right? So like that sort of balances out. The Jackal unfortunately does not. So that is one we have to knock off that list. We're then left with 7 SMGs. We still got to knock off 2 here. Another one that unfortunately I do look at is going to be that Compact. Yes, its first damage range is fantastic. This one's probably the closest to being truly in this top 5 because that first damage range has such a fast TTK. But essentially, if you're not fighting in the first 11, 12, 13 meters with this thing, it's just not going to be a very good SMG as opposed to everything else here. So that one, I think just because its slight damage drop off there being so quick and so harsh, does end up getting just barely knocked out of that top 5. Then lastly here, as good as it is for sniper support, the KSV just lacks a little bit behind some of these other choices. Like the C9 is so good in that first damage range and that second damage range. LC10 TTK is much faster than everything else, especially in that first damage range. Ladra is solid there. PPSH does fall off in that second damage range, but it's also a spray and pray machine and really good up close. And then the Saug, like we mentioned, really good in that second damage range, decent enough and a little bit faster than that KSV in that first damage range. A negligible amount, but still there. So I think the KSV also just misses the cut, and that ultimately leaves us with the C9, the LC10, the Ladra, the PPSH, and the Saug. Now let's jump in game, break down the best setups for these weapons. If you enjoy the video and the details as we do so, a like rating is always seriously appreciated. It truly does help grow the channel and share it around to new viewers. And if you happen to be one of those new viewers, or maybe you just have not subscribed yet, we should change that. Each and every day, this is your one-stop shop for everything going on in COD, so feel free to hit that subscribe button and turn on those post notifications. All right, so first up here at number 5, I've got the Saug. Just as we saw in the graph, the TTK in that first damage range is a little bit slower than these other options here, but in the second range, it's a really good option. So ultimately, if you're just landing shots at this thing, it's going to be competitive no matter what. It's a pretty easy to use SMG, and I love its versatility and overall aggressiveness here as well. First up, long barrel. We're pretty much rocking this on all of our SMGs. You want to extend that damage range out. This pushes it out to just over 15 meters, which is pretty solid there. G-grip on here really works just because I do a lot of hip fire to ADS spraying when I am using the Saug. Obviously, if you're not integrating that a ton with your gameplay, you probably want to opt for Ranger foregrip instead. Get yourself some better control still like G-grip is doing, but then get some sprinting movement speed back out of that as well. Another obvious choice here, extended 255 rounder. We do have a 909 RPM, so the damage per mag's not insane, but it's also not insane on a lot of guns right now in the current meta here. Commando rear grip, I do like the added sprint to fire and ADS here as opposed to just one versus the other. I do think quick draw is great, assault is great if you're looking for just one, but why not get a little bit of both here? Does help the gun be a little bit more aggressive just all around. And then lastly, recoil springs, just some free recoil control, making the gun a lot easier to use, helping you stay on target. Very straightforward SMG, a fantastic run and gun choice. Next up at number 4, I've got the PPSH. Going to be a pretty similar setup to that of the Saug, but the gun feels entirely different. This again is a gun that is a spray and pray machine because it just spits bullets. This is also a really good option for like hip fire to ADS, hence the G grip on there, as I'm sure you can see. In general, this is just a really fun, aggressive SMG as well. So once more, we've got the long barrel on there. This pushes our damage range out to just over 16 meters, 16 and a half there, which is really good. G grip, as mentioned, I do a lot of hip fire with the PPSH. It just kind of feels feels right, you know? But again, if you're not doing that in your gameplay, vertical foregrip or ranger foregrip would be serviceable alternatives there. Extended 2, again, a 55 rounder, but we got a 952 RPM here, so the damage per mag's a little bit worse than the Saug, but obviously that TTK is pretty crazy as we saw on the graph. The stocks and the rear grips are kind of all meshed into one category here, and quite frankly, they're all really good. It just depends on which stat values you want to go after. I like the ADS and the strafe, so that's why I go for the agility. But if you do a lot of slide canceling, you want that slide to fire speed, ergonomic is good. If you want just general sprint to fire speed, combat is good. Quick draw for straight up ADS, infiltrator for straight up strafe, balance for some movement. Like, these are all really good choices. It's just a matter of preference. I personally go for that agility stock on there. And then yet again, recoil springs, doing something a little bit more than like a compensator would, because you get some horizontal control out of this as well. So once more, just making the gun a little bit easier to use. Definitely a fun SMG here, simply because it just feels crazy when you're using it. And for whatever reason, the Ladra is kind of, I feel like almost been forgotten about. I feel like I don't see that many people using it, but I love the way that this gun feels. It is such a good, satisfying feeling SMG. I love the clean irons. It's got a really good range. It's aggressive and low recoil at the same time. Obviously, it doesn't have the fastest TTK, but it's super competitive. I like I said, really enjoy using this thing. Here again, we're going for the long barrel. This extends our damage range out to 15.5 meters, sitting there alongside the others, basically. Ranger foregrip in this case for the added sprinting movement speed, some free recoil control on there as well. Extended 2 in this case is a 66 rounder, so a nice little added safety net here, because it does have a 1071 RPM, so it definitely spits bullets as well, but you get a slightly larger safety net with that 66 rounder. Kind of a weird number to have, but hey, the more ammo the merrier in this case. Quick draw rear grip just for that snappy ADS and that jumping ADS, just making the gun feel a little bit more aggressive there. And then the infiltrator stock for that added strafe just feels so good here once you got your sights up and you can just bob and weave left to right, kind of throw enemies off and spray bullets back at them at the same time. Really like the feel of that, and you're able to do so because this gun is so easy to use. You don't need to stack or recoil springs if you don't want to. You can learn this pattern very straightforward, and it's gonna melt. Good old C9 has never really left the meta so far here in the Black Ops 6 Warzone era. It is just a do-it-all SMG. It is aggressive, it's low recoil, it's got good range, a fast TTK. It's checking all the right boxes truly here, and the setup, quite frankly, this year hasn't evolved that much either, which could be a little bit boring, but also if you're just switching up your SMGs, like I'll bounce back and forth between all these on the list here today whenever I'm feeling bored of a certain one. Long barrel on here though, damage range is 17.2 meters, sitting pretty there, the best that we've talked about so far, best in class really as far as this top 5 goes. Ranger foregrip, horizontal control, sprinting movement speed. Extended 2 in this case, going to be a 50 rounder only, but you've got a 732 RPM, so the RPM's not as crazy as the other subs that we've covered here, obviously, so the damage per mag stat's not as alarming in some cases, you know. We also got quick draw rear grip on here, and then again, recoil springs for that added control. So this thing is going to be snappy, it's going to kill quick, and it's going to be really, really easy to use. And then no surprise, at number 1, we've got the LC10. This thing's a melt machine. It's got that best TTK up close, obviously, which is the most important damage range for these SMGs, and it's still pretty aggressive and decently efficient in that second damage range as well, all while being incredibly easy to use. Clean iron sights, it's doing everything at the top tier efficiency level, basically. Again, long barrel, 16.1 meter effective damage range, falling right in line with all those other choices that we've talked about. Ranger foregrip for control and mobility. Extended 2 here, 55 rounder on an 800 RPM, so not a crazy concerning DPM stat or anything. Quick draw rear grip, but then again, I love the infiltrator stock on here for that added strafe, just because the gun is so straightforward and so easy. I don't need a recoil spring, so anytime you can stack some movement on there, that's going to be a solid option in my personal opinion. But quite frankly, all these choices today are solid options. Then as we talked about on the graph, like the KSV, not that far behind, the Compact, not that far behind, the Jackal, even things like MW3's Striker are also very competitive as well. The SMG meta is a ton of fun because there are so many different good options that are all effective. They just feel a little bit different, so whatever one you like the most or whatever one you prefer is oftentimes the meta for you. But that is going to wrap things up. If you guys enjoyed this video, be sure to drop a like on it, and if you're new here, feel free to hit that subscribe button as well to guarantee you're always in the know for everything going on in COD. But once again, thank you so much for tuning in, and until next time, take it easy, have an awesome rest of your day, and I'll catch you later. Peace out.